Today's class is going to be a whole body slow flow. To honor the waning energy of this stage of the cycle, we're going to be moving really mindfully and really leaning into that feeling of having luxury of time. So, in any pose, if you want to stay longer, if it feels good for you, feel free to do that. That's the beauty of Vigo. Can hit pause and rejoin us when you're ready. So, we're actually going to start our practice today in Malasana, up on a block or stack of books if you don't have a yoga block, or even just a roll of blanket, just to bring the hips a little bit higher and make this malasana feel a little bit more comfortable today. So I want you to find a position where you can get the feet to the floor. So you should be up on the sit bones on the block or the books. Bring the elbows inside the knees and see if you can find a little bit more length through your spine. So feel like the crown of the head is reaching up tall. And then I want you to gently press the knees into the elbows and gently press the elbows into the knees. And taking full deep breaths into the lower belly. So really letting your belly hang out in this practice, not holding it in or engaging it, which can sometimes be our default mode. We've been taught to suck our belly in. I want you to consciously practice in your yoga practice to let it all hang out. Obviously, during some poses, we will engage the core muscles for support, but particularly in this pose where we don't need abdominal strength, I really just want you to think soft belly. On your inhale, bring the left hand down to the mat and reach the right hand up to the sky. And then if it feels good to do so, you can reach that right hand around to the opposite hip. You may like to reach forward and see if you can find a bind wrapping the arm around. As you can see, my don't quite make it. You could bring a strap here in between to pull apart, or just explore inching those fingers closer and closer together. Each inhale, see if you can lift that right shoulder up a little bit more. And as you exhale, creep those fingers in the same direction. Or if it feels better to do so, you can just stay with inhale grounded, gently pressing the elbow and thighs together. Next breath, inhale that right arm up to the sky. And then exhale it all the way down. We're going to swap sides. Inhale the left arm to sky. Staying here for a couple of breaths. And then exhale, bring that hand around to the opposite hip. Either staying here with the hand grounded and opening, pressing the floor away, opening through that top shoulder, or you want to finding that bind. Completely up to you what feels good for you today. Good. Release the hands to the mat. I want you to lift the hips up, coming into a wider variation of our forward fold. Grab hold of that block and bring it underneath the hands so that you can inhale, straighten both legs, straighten the back. And then exhale, gently fold. Maybe the head comes to the block to rest. Maybe just rest the hairs on the block, letting that upper body hang. Maybe you change which side of the block is resting so that you can come a little bit closer to the floor, depending on what your body needs. And then we're going to work with the breath, staying here, inhaling halfway. And exhale and fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale and fold. One more inhale. And exhale. This time I want you to bend into those knees, and we're going to slide in the hands underneath the feet so that the toes are just resting on the crease line of the wrist. And then just let that upper body completely hang. So maybe you need to sway that from side to side just to remind your body not to hold any tension. Keep the knees as bent as you need and just gently rock the weight forward and back, exploring how that feels through the legs. Maybe round and round if you prefer. And then keeping the hands underneath the feet, just gently press into the feet. as if you were trying to straighten up the legs, but not really aiming to get them straight, just feeling that tension through the back of the legs. Good. Release the hands from underneath the feet. Keep hold of your bluff as you come all the way down. Lower the hips down, coming back to our Malasana variation, but not on the block this time. And then we're going to use the block as a prop to step the left foot forward, coming into a low lunge on this side. So keep that block under the right hand. You can change which side the block is resting on. And then inhale the left arm up to the sky. So if you want to make this a little bit stronger, you could pick up the back knee if you're feeling a bit more energetic today, or keep that back knee nice and grounded and lean a little bit deeper into the stretch. You could add movement if that feels nice. So some days I'm very still in my practice, and some days I've got energy to move and spaces to work into. So just listening to your body and what it needs today. And then I want you to bring that top hand down to the knee. Let the knee fall out to the side. Find the outer blade of this front foot and gently press that foot away, opening the heart in the opposite direction. So if you prefer to be grounded on the mat, you can with this automat. You want to go a little bit deeper. Breathing here. And we're going to tuck the back toes, lift up, and roll to the outer blade of that back foot. The top arm is going to reach up and over, and then drop this right hip down to the mat. So you feel a nice side stretch here. You can keep pressing this knee away if that feels good, or rest completely on this bottom leg and just keep reaching towards the back. Breathing here. This is quite intense for the hips. And then inhale that arm all the way back up. Let yourself unwind, maybe gently shaking it out here. And then tuck the back toes, lifting all the way back, coming into our first downward facing dog. So bringing the hands around shoulder distance apart, pressing into the fingers, the palms, and gently drawing the hips down towards the mat. Shake the head yes and no to release any tension from the neck. Good. And then walk your way all the way back. We come back to have a seat into our Balasana. Slow lifting back up through the chest and the torso. Grabbing hold of that block once more. We're using this as support on the left side this time as we step forward into our low lunge. So bring the back knee down. Leave the left hand grounded and inhale the right to the sky. Yet again, if you want, you can lift that back knee, make it a little bit stronger, or stay grounded today. Just breathing and being in your body here, noticing, do you have a desire to move today? What does my body choose? And following its lead. On your next breath, we start to roll to the outer blade of that front foot as you let the knee fall out. The front hand may prefer to be grounded on the mat, leaning forward and pressing the heart away from the knee. Then bringing both hands to the mat, tucking the back toes. As we roll onto the outer blade of that back foot this time, inhale the arm up and over. You can let the hips sink right down to the ground if that feels comfortable, or keep them a little bit more lifted. And just breathing here. Good. Inhale the head all the way back to the front. Take your time here, rocking it out here in your low lunge. And then when you're ready, stepping all the way back, come into your downward facing dog. Again, asking the body, does it want to move? Or will stillness be best here for you today? Inhale the left leg to the sky. Bend the knee and open out through the hip. So we are going to flow forward shortly, come into a high lunge, but in the spirit of today's practice being slow and steady, we're going to take 3 full deep breaths here. So I want you to see if you can keep the shoulders square, but allow that top hip to open. One more breath here. Good. And then look towards the hands. We're going to step that left foot in between the hands. I want you to move as slowly as you need to make this as controlled as you possibly can. So hugging that left knee into chest and gently placing it between the hands. Good. As you inhale, we'll slowly rise to a high lunge. Again, if you're needing a more gentle practice today, that back knee can come down. Again, breathing here. As you exhale, we're going to frame that front foot. Let the hands down. And then bring the back knee down as you straighten up the front leg. Moving into half split variation here. 3 full deep breaths. Keep drawing the toes of the left foot back towards your head. Good. Gently rock your body forward. Plant the hands. Step that left foot all the way back. 3-legged dog once more. And again, just breathing here. As you inhale, let's bring that left knee fully behind the left wrist. Stretching the right leg up behind you as we come into our pigeon pose. And we're staying upright today. So if you need a prop under this left hip, feel free to do so. I want you to tuck the toes of the right foot if they're not already, and then engage that leg, turn it on strong. So you may not be able to see my right thigh is actually lifted up off the mat. It doesn't matter if your butt is lifted or not, but just bring that engagement to that back leg. If you feel good to do so, you could bring the hands to heart and actually activate through those hips and ask them to do a little bit of work here. And then exhale, bring the hands down, power up through the hands to slowly, with control, step it all the way back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg to sky, bend the knee, open out through the hip. Remember, we're here for a few breaths. So take your time to align through the shoulders. Explore how it feels to maybe open a little bit more through the hips. And then draw down with that front armpit to balance out the shoulders once more. Look to the hands and as slow as you possibly can with control, step that right foot forward between hands. Good. Next breath, see if you rise, high lunge. Remember, you can bring the back knee down if you need. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. You can explore being higher in your lunge or lower, really pressing strongly through that back heel. Good. Slowly bring the hands all the way back down. Bring that front foot. Ish that all the way back to three-legged dog. Bring that right knee forward, coming into pigeon on the opposite side. Getting any cross that you need underneath the hips. Tuck the back toes and engage that back leg. So really press the ball of the foot into the mat. Again, you can lift the hands if that feels good, bringing hands to heart. You could take the arms above the head if that feels good. Where you are, keep breathing and try to keep the hips square. So I know when we lift this back leg, we can want to pop over onto this thigh, which makes the pose a whole lot easier. See if you can stay square so that you're still getting that opening through the hips. One more breath. Good. Release the hands down. We step all the way back. Downward facing dog. Breathe. And slowly walk the hands all the way back to meet the feet. Find the elbows. Sway it out and forward fold. This time we're going to bend the knees even further. Wrap the hands around the back of the legs so let the thighs and the chest of hissing. Let the head relax and just gently press through the heels. Release the hands down. Bring the knees down to the mat. Just take a seat on the feet. Rolling shoulders back and down. I'm just resting the palms here in the lap as we take a few full deep breaths. At this stage of the cycle, we might feel our anxiety increasing, feeling more rushed and hurried to get things done. I want you to use your practice as a way to consciously slow yourself down in the rest of your day. Remind yourself in your practice whenever those feelings come up of wanting to rush, wanting to get through it, wanting to be done. We take a breath. Remind ourselves we have all the time we need. Breathe into that feeling. And as you sit here, just simply noticing where the mind goes. Following the thoughts with your mind as if the thoughts were a child and you're following along, keeping them safe. Maybe noticing when they wander off into something that feels a little bit more dangerous or negative. In the spirit of having all the time we need. Good for us stay here in this seated observing of the mind. Very simple meditation for as long as you need. A beautiful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.